Iran's turning to Russia for help in the wake of U.S. strikes on the country's nuclear facilities. Iran's foreign minister was in Moscow Monday meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, with Putin calling the U.S. strikes unprovoked and unjustified. Former Russian president and Putin ally Dmitry Medvedev posted on X support for Iran, writing in part, "The future production of nuclear weapons will continue," and suggesting countries are ready to give Iran their own nuclear weapons.
I think it's a bizarre response, but I also don't know that that guy speaks for President Putin or for the Russian government. They've been very consistent that they don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon.
The president also reacting via Truth Social, saying the N-word for nuclear shouldn't be used so casually. And I guess that's why Putin's the boss. The reaction underscores the belief that the U.S. and Israel aren't the only two countries trying to prevent a nuclear Iran, since U.S. military installations in nearby friendly Middle Eastern countries are obvious targets.
This is an existential threat not only to Israel, but to the stabilization within the Middle East, but also America. So the president's been very, very consistent in the idea that he wants to have a diplomatic channel, but he also has been consistent that Iran cannot possess a nuclear weapon.
Russia's involvement is mostly being dismissed for now, with Moscow's Middle East influence not as strong as it once was.
What has Russia done? Issued a strongly worded statement and welcomed Iran's foreign minister to Moscow. So I think this is mostly just bluster to cover up the fact that Russia is a pretty fickle friend to have in the world.
It's unclear if Russia will or can support Iran with military intervention. Russia is involved in its own war with Ukraine that's straining its resources, and at Monday's meeting, Russian officials stressed a diplomatic.
Putin just met with Iran's foreign minister. This is happening while Russian leaders are claiming that multiple countries are prepared to provide Iran with nuclear weapons since the United States struck Iran. At the exact same time, Donald Trump is declaring peace, saying congratulations to everyone. Israel and Iran have agreed to complete ceasefire. So what the heck does this mean? Because basically at the exact same time, Iran fired on a U.S. military base, on two military bases in the Middle East. So are they truly agreeing to a ceasefire, or was Iran just getting hammered by Israel and the U.S.? So quite frankly, a ceasefire is in Iran's best interest, not necessarily meaning they want long-term peace. And literally within the same 24-hour span, the FBI is warning of possible Iran retaliations following these nuclear strikes. So folks, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. Before we jump into the headlines, saying that top Russian officials are saying that multiple countries are prepared to give Iran nuclear weapons. Then we have Putin meeting with Iran on the exact same day, or the next day after they said that, which was today. And we have a long history of Russia and Iran supporting each other. Guys, a lot of crazy stuff happening. Before we jump into it, let's watch this quick video kind of recapping everything that happened in the last 24 hours. Check this out.
Welcome to the News Hour. It was a dramatic day in the Middle East. Iran launched a series of ballistic missiles at a U.S. military base in the Middle East, but it simultaneously indicated a desire to de-escalate. And this evening, President Trump announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, which began this recent conflict when it attacked Iran and its nuclear program 12 days ago. Nick Schifrin starts our coverage.
Above Doha's skyline tonight, the first ever Iranian attack on the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East. The U.S. says Iran fired more than a dozen short and medium-range ballistic missiles at Al Udeid Air Base, nearly all intercepted and causing no casualties. Al Udeid is usually home to more than 10,000 service members, but much of it was evacuated before tonight's attack, which Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps broadcast, claiming complete success.
The Islamic Republic of Iran will not leave any act of aggression against its territorial integrity, sovereignty, or national security unanswered under any circumstances.
So basically, Iran attacked multiple U.S. bases in the Middle East. They told the United States they were going to do this hours ahead of time. Qatar cleared their airspace so none of their own planes would get hit. The United States evacuated those bases so no one would actually get killed. And then Iran went on their own TV, their own national programs, and declared strength, that they would retaliate, that they wouldn't let the United States get away with this. Basically waving the white flag. It's a little bit insincere, but they're basically trying to save face with the Iranian citizens while at the same time basically waving the white flag.
But Iran warned Washington and Qatar before the attack. It did not try to choke off global oil supplies, nor did it try to strike any other U.S. base in the region. And it signaled a desire for de-escalation, saying in a separate statement it used the, quote, same number of missiles as the number of bombs the United States used in attacking Iran's nuclear facilities, even if that claim was inflated. At the White House, after meeting with his national security team, President Trump called Iran's response, quote, very weak, and wrote, I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost.
So Trump posted, Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of the nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected, and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down defensively, and one was quote-unquote set free because it was headed in a non-threatening direction, essentially stating they had complete control of this attack. It was a big nothing burger because Iran actually let the United States know. I am pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, this is all happening while at the same time the FBI continues to warn the U.S. citizens of potential retaliation on U.S. soil. The FBI is warning that. This continues to happen as top Russian officials came out and said that multiple countries are prepared to give Iran nuclear weapons. Then Russia met with Iran today, and they have a history of supporting each other militarily and economically. Iran's best interest was a ceasefire because they were getting obliterated. Now that's happening. Are they going to get nukes? We don't know. But let's take a look and see what else happened in the last 24 hours.
Nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. As of this morning, that was not what Israel was signaling. Smoke towered over Tehran's tallest buildings after what Israel called its most widespread airstrikes on Tehran, including symbols of Iran's theocratic power. In northern Tehran, an airstrike hit the gates of the notorious Evin prison, which holds many domestic and foreign political detainees. Israel also said it struck the headquarters of the IRGC in Tehran and of the Basij, the regime's paramilitary troops.
So a lot of people are wondering why they claim to be a ceasefire, but at the same time, these attacks continue to happen after that. Apparently, it's a little bit interesting. They agreed to ceasefires, but they already had missions in place, in progress. For some reason, they didn't want to just cancel those missions, which would continue to destroy infrastructure in both countries. So this is why you're seeing that although they've agreed to a ceasefire, there's still some firing happening, some explosions happening that will be ceding in the next, I believe, 6 to 12 hours. But Trump will actually go on to explain this in this video here.
The silencing of all dissent. Analysts say today's attack is a message to Iranians who want to protest their government. They should feel free to do so. IDF spokesman Brigadier General Effie Defrin.
The internal security forces are a significant part of the security and immunity
to have occurred.
He said, quote, the war would be ended. It would be declared the 12-day war. Now, I just checked with Israeli officials. There's no confirmation of this at this hour, but presumably this is the agreement that has been set by Israel.
Okay, so again, Russian leadership, it's been reported, you'll see here, Russian leader claims multiple countries prepped to provide Iran nuclear weapons following U.S. strikes. Now, this is Russia's former president, who was part of the United Nations Security Council representing Russia, and he said the production of nuclear weapons in Iran will continue. Now, given that Russia and Iran have a long history of supporting each other, both with military support and economic support, it doesn't take a genius to think, okay, Russian leaders are saying that multiple countries are prepped to give Iran nuclear weapons. Then you have Iran meeting with Putin the very next day. Is Putin saying he'll give Iran nuclear weapons? Let's take a look at this article. Russia's former president said that multiple countries are poised to provide Iran with nuclear warheads since the U.S. launched strikes against 3 Iran nuclear facilities. The enrichment of nuclear material, and now we can say it outright, the future production of nuclear weapons, which we all know Iran has been trying to do, he says will continue. Now the deputy chairman of the Security Council of Russia said in a Sunday post on X, formerly known as Twitter, a number of countries are ready to directly supply Iran with their own nuclear warheads. And again, this isn't a country, Russia, where Putin, he rules with an iron fist. This man would not be saying that unless Putin was okay with him saying it, right? Putin wouldn't outright directly say it. He wants someone else to say it so he can deny it, but at the same time, put that threat forward. Now, he did not list specific countries that might pitch in and support Iran. However, Russia historically has backed Iran's nuclear program. Russian President Vladimir Putin also offered to mediate peace talks between Iran and Israel on Wednesday, which of course we expect to happen now since they have apparently agreed to a ceasefire according to President Trump. Now, Moscow also offered to intervene and help negotiate a nuclear deal between the U.S. and Iran. So why is this happening? Why is there this potential threat of Russia giving Iran nuclear bombs? What's the history here between Iran and Russia? Well, Russia and Iran are strategic partners, not formal allies, but they do have a long relationship of strategically helping each other. Now, after Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution, the U.S.-Iran relationship collapsed, right? Obviously, with the extremism, the United States did not want to support that. Now, while Iran and the Soviet Union were not close at the time, they shared a common opposition to American influence in the Middle East. So this is the origins of when Russia and Iran began helping each other in opposition to the U.S., which quite frankly is weird why certain people seem to like Putin now, including Trump. Now, in the 1990s and 2000s, Russia and Iran cooperated on nuclear energy. Russia built a nuclear power plant in Iran. They also cooperated in military sales. Russia sold arms to Iran, including missile systems. And in the 21st century, over the last 25 years, these strategic ties have only grown even stronger. Now, during the Syrian civil war, which began in 2011 and continues until current day, both Iran and Russia have been supporting Bashir's regime militarily and politically, opposing the United States, cementing their cooperation against the U.S. Now, U.S. sanctions and isolation. Both Russia and Iran have faced increasing Western sanctions, especially after 2014 for Russia, and again after 2022 with the invasion of Ukraine, and ongoing for Iran with the extreme sanctions. Because of these sanctions imposed by the U.S., Russia and Iran over the years have begun cooperating economically and militarily to support each other and make up for the deficit that the U.S. sanctions have created through joint military drills, arms deals, and oil and other trade agreements. Now, as far as the Ukraine war, Iran has reportedly provided drones and other military support to Russia throughout the war with Ukraine, while Russia has promised fighter jets and satellite technology in return. This has made the relationship even tighter in defense of the United States. So although Russia and Iran are not formal allies, for all intents and purposes, they basically are. And because of this long history of supporting each other and the fact that Iran met with Russia today in Russia, and top Russian officials have said that multiple countries are prepped to give Iran nuclear weapons, it's easy to come to the conclusion that Russia might be helping Ukraine and could indirectly be threatening to give Russia nuclear weapons, right? Now, Trump came out on Truth Social today claiming victory here, saying that after bombing the nuclear facilities in Iran, that Iran and Israel have both agreed to a ceasefire. But again, when you think about it, with Iran getting obliterated, Iran was getting their butts kicked. It's really in their best interest to have a ceasefire. So think about it as you're playing a basketball game. You're getting your butt kicked. You're exhausted. You're down by 30 points. Do you want to call timeout to catch a break, catch your breath? That's potentially what Iran wants to do, right? Iran has been very retaliatory. Iran has been very, strong in their mission to create nuclear weapons. And now we have Iran essentially we have Russia threatening to give Iran nuclear weapons. At the same time, the FBI is warning people of potential attacks on U.S. soil. They're saying that this could be focused on top U.S. officials, people who could be influential in the government, but they're also saying it could be acts of terrorism, people that are in the United States, extremists that could retaliate on Iran's behalf. Obviously, this stuff is scary, folks, so make sure you're being careful out there. But with that said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think it's possible that Iran could be supplied nuclear weapons by Russia? Do you think Putin wanted his top officials to say this, right? Because I can't imagine Putin letting his top officials say this publicly without his approval. And I think this is really an indirect threat from Putin himself. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Really quickly, let's actually take a quick look and see what Trump posted today. He posted a flurry of messages here. He said, and again, as all of this craziness is happening, as the FBI is warning of Iran retaliation on U.S. soil, as Iran is sending missiles to U.S. military bases in the Middle East, as Russia is essentially threatening that multiple countries, they're literally threatening that multiple countries are prepped to give Iran nuclear weapons. And it's safe to say most likely they would. As all of this is happening, Trump is claiming victory, saying that Iran has agreed to a ceasefire along with Israel. Let's take a look and see what Trump said. He posted, "Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now." This was posted about 2-3 hours ago as of making this video. "When Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions." Still blowing things up as they agree to a ceasefire. "At which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire as well. And upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world." So Trump is saying that Iran is going to ceasefire in 6 hours, but Israel is going to continue to attack for 6 additional hours. I don't understand that. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. So apparently maybe Israel will be respectful before they claim ceasefire. Will be peaceful. "On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war." Trump loves branding things with quick little slick titles. "This is the war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel and God bless the world." Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments, guys. It's going to be interesting to see if Israel genuinely means what they're saying here. And Iran as well. Let's see here. Trump posting a bunch of victory posts here, but essentially saying that America has won this and America did the right thing. Let's see. God, he's posted so much. This is crazy. All right. He said, "Congratulations, world. It's time for peace." That was 5 hours ago. I believe that was actually the first post. Then he posted that long post I just read to you all. He did post before that because, again, even though they're claiming to be agreeing to a ceasefire, literally at the exact same time, they're bombing U.S. military bases. Donald Trump posted regarding those attacks on U.S. bases, "Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and one was set free because it was headed in a non-threatening direction. I am pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their systems, and there will be hopefully no more hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice. Again, Iran, shot missiles at U.S. bases, but they actually told the U.S. they were doing this, and then went and told Iran citizens on television that they're aggressively retaliating to U.S. attacks. So basically just trying to save face with Iranian citizens before they, what it seems like, potentially surrender, unless they get nukes from Russia. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this ceasefire will last? Do you think it's genuine? Things are hectic in the Middle East. Do you think Russia is serious when they say that multiple countries are poised and prepped? They literally said multiple countries are prepped to give Iran nuclear weapons. Do you think that's just conjecture? Do you think that's genuine? Or do you think they're just making that up to threaten the United States? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But in any case, guys, it's good to see potentially a ceasefire here, potentially no more lives lost. No one wants to see this. But you know what? Things could change quickly, so I will keep you posted as things develop. If you guys like these updates, please like, please subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And before I end today's video, I just want to quickly address the live comments in the chat here. Larry said, wow, yes, Larry, things have been crazy. Bryant Brown said, Donald Trump is a meatbag. America is about building, not destroying. Thank you for your thoughts, Bryant. Leroy said, since Russia wants to keep war going, then President Trump needs to deal with all of them. Interesting, because Trump has generally been complimentary of Putin, which I've always thought was weird, but, we'll see how things develop. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Again, please like, please subscribe. I will keep you posted as things develop, and I hope to see you on the next video.